SBA will lend you up to $5 million with as little as 2.5% down to buy your own small business. Here's one way you can use that. Our search assistant found a road and park site prep business in New York City. And now this business is possible to buy with no money down and would net you over $650,000 per year after making your monthly loan payments. So we'll dig into the business and we'll show you how to buy it with no money down. Now, the first thing you might point out is that I said you could get $5 million and that this business is listed for over $5 million. And the way you get around that $5 million limit is that, of course, your down payment is going to count towards the purchase of the business. You can have the seller provide some seller financing for the amounts above the $5 million, or the owner can roll some equity in, meaning that they will keep a small part of the business after the transaction. So for this particular business, you only need about another $338,000 if you were to give them the full list price. And that's only about 6% of the deal price. In this space, it's typical for the seller to finance 10 to 20% of the purchase through seller financing. And it's not that uncommon to get as high as 40%. But for this particular deal, the seller has already offered 20%. Now, this business is huge. Their client list includes the New York City Department of Transportation, the New York and New Jersey Port Authorities, lots of big government organizations. And they can get big contracts because they've been in business for 43 years and never defaulted on a job. They even have $31 million in under contract business for 2023 and an additional $49 million backlog. And they have $7 million in assets, including $2.3 million in working capital, which implies that this business, when you buy it, they're going to keep that money in the business because it's really required. But you're going to start with $2.3 million in the bank day one. And that all can start with that 2.5% down payment, or in this case, we'll get to where we can do it with nothing down. Now, they have a 20-person team that runs the core business. And then depending on the projects that are going on, they typically have 30 to 50 union labor workers. Now, the current owner works about 25 hours a week and he's ready to retire. Now, one thing to watch out for in buying one of these big construction businesses that does a lot of government work is that you're going to need to be bonded. Now, this is essentially an insurance policy that protects all the parties to make sure that the work is going to be completed. And a new buyer might not have the history to get bonds big enough to bid on these jobs. Now, here's a way to get around that and buy this with no money down. Now, the seller said they were willing to roll equity into this business, so meaning they would retain a small piece of the business. And that helps in a few ways. One, it helps with continuity with the customers. Two, you can use the previous owner's track record for the bonding. That way, you will continue to get the bonds that they were able to get, which means you can continue to bid on the larger projects. And then over time, you can buy out the previous owner as you have the experience, and then you're able to get those big projects on your own. And then third, under brand new rules from the SBA, that previous owners' equity can count as the down payment, which means that 2.5% down payment requirement can go away, meaning you can buy this with no money down. So what do you think? Would you buy this business? And reach out if you need help buying your next business.